So, last we met, Virgil, faced with the life-altering decision offered to him by Commander-in-Chief Rowan Sterling, accepted Henry Goodlove's friendly invitation to his family's private bathhouse, as one does. Resting in the waters, our boys talked about their pasts and their futures, and all that may be in store for them if Virgil accepts his offer from Rowan Sterling to rejoin the regiments of Dawning. He decided to accept, but not everyone is ready to start walking down the grander paths ahead. Kian went on to his mentor, the representative of the powerful celestial garden Eliak and of the southern island of Thule, Kara Elia. They finally told her what I suspected all along. They're not interested in following in her footsteps anymore, as if the past 7 years haven't been a sign of that. Still, it wasn't easy for them and it wasn't easy for her. And then a day was spent resting, except for Ox, who spent some good coin to build up his gun at a fancy forge. Now we begin in a place much like where we began last time. Seems our boys are tiring out the new commander-in-chief. Normally proud features appear drawn, and freckles stand out dark against skin pale with sleeplessness. Virgil announces his intents to rejoin Dawning, and he watches as Rowan's broad, cloaked back turns and slams the door shut. I think we're starting to learn something new about Virgil, though. He's a stubborn one.
Virgil waits all of 10 seconds and then races for the front door.
It's not locked. It does take some effort to open it, but as you run out, you still see Rowan's not far away. It's only been, about 10 seconds? And are you running up to him?
He throws open the door, sees where Rowan has gone, and stops for a moment, and then goes through the motions to cast message. Rowan, I don't believe I was done.
He steps forward a few more paces, but you can see he's slowing down.
Will you come back? Agapite.
Roll a persuasion check.
Oh, awful. Just literally bottom of the barrel terrible.
It's not on that one.
Well, it's not, no. It is a 2.
He just stands there in the center of this garden courtyard. It's a very nice pre-dawn morning. He doesn't say anything to you, doesn't move or turn around. It's quiet. There's some cheerful bird song in the background. The sun is just starting to rise, and you can see it behind his back, in front of him, staining the horizon, the hint of red.
Are we going to do this on the front lawn of the Goodlove estate, or will you come back?
He doesn't move.
Fine. Virgil goes to him.
Turns around once you approach. You can hear your footsteps on the stones.
As I said, I was not finished. I understand you might have been, but I was not, so you are going to listen. I want you to listen. I don't know how you got this in your head, but I was not miserable. Not as a shepherd. You do not get to say how I felt or how I should feel. Where did you get this idea? Are you certain it is not how you felt? How you feel still?
That was not how I felt.
I was miserable when I was gone. And before I met you. Did you know I did not have a single friend before I came here? I do not wish to be alone in the world again.
You are not. You have friends with you, waiting back in the Goodlove estate.
And they have been very good friends, but that was, the last 2.5 months. I have been alone for 2 years. Before I met you, I did not even know that I could dream for something more. Those were the happiest days of my life.
I mean, I don't know how many boys would be gathered in the still open door.
Yeah, I don't know that he bothered to shut it.
I was gonna say Henry would be there.
Rowan makes eye contact with you and looks back at you, Virgil, and sort of gestures for you to turn around and see that Henry is watching.
His shoulders drop. He doesn't turn, but he knows.
You are not alone. They seem very concerned about your well-being. And I don't see why... This is just... It's not what I expected from you, if I ever saw you again.
You expected me to come back with what, some drive to what, get payback?
Yes. Why not?
Nico doing what she did, really. I know you trusted her, and for her to betray you, I can't imagine. But I'm not her. I just want to stay with you.
He shakes his head. His gaze just falls to the stones at your feet. I did not wish you harm either,
I know.
but I hurt you. And it is concerning to me, as someone who cares for you, that you don't seem to mind. It is worse that you don't care.
It is not so much that I don't mind, it is that I trust it will not happen again.
You shouldn't.
You don't get to decide that. You are so quick to blame yourself and only yourself. It is not just your fault. The circumstances were not those that you made with your own hands.
They were.
It was
They
not.
were.
Believe what you will. Virgil moves to hug him and gives him a chance to pull away.
He steps back immediately. I think we should keep a distance.
All right. As you say.
Can I ask you one thing?
Yes.
If you truly wish to have stayed here, why... What did you think was going to happen? When you attacked the guards? Before you were exiled? What did you think would happen if you had reached me? Did you think the two of us would make it out?
I don't know that I had the luxury to stop and think about it. So I acted. If I had done nothing and you had died, I could not live with myself. I had no reason to distrust Nico then, did I?
I hope this time you have learned from that and that you will think that you have thought on the decision you made.
He nods. I understand. And I hope this time, as you are doing now, you will listen. Not just hear me, but listen.
Right.
Thank you.
For what?
You stopped.
Just nods. Turns around. Keeps going.
Virgil turns back to see y'all Scooby-Doo ganging in the doorway, or is it just Henry?
Ox is tasteful enough to hide behind the door.
I think for once Kian is not snooping.
Henry wasn't snooping. He went to go and assess property damage first.
Actually, I should have you roll a strength check for
Oh, God.
your wall punch.
Let me roll a natural one real fast for you.
Yes?
What did you roll?
That's a critical.
I was afraid of that.
So anyway, I will pay for that.
You go to assess the damages from the impressively loud crack that you heard. Your eye immediately finds the place where Virgil's fist connected. There are 5 cracks from the place of impact in the paint. You can see like an indent in the wood, and there's also a smear of blood from Virgil's knuckles connecting, possibly with the brick beneath. It doesn't look easy to fix.
I think he sort of, not roughly, but pushes past Henry back into the foyer. Sort of sighs and reaches out and casts Mending.
You have to cast it twice.
That's alright. He'll just sit there and mindlessly cast without even really looking until He can run a hand over the wall and it's smooth. My apologies.
Well, I appreciate the fix. It would have been an awkward conversation with my parents, but do you need a moment, or...
It's alright. I had all day yesterday, so...
But it was uncharacteristically violent for you. You're usually so reserved, and how are you feeling?
I'm not at my best. Henry, I don't know what... It's alright.
Forgive me if I don't fully believe that one, but I won't prod further.
I'll do you the same courtesy.
Ox, are you also here in the entryway, clearly having been snooping?
Yes, quietly, and he's been petting Delilah since they came back inside.
Where is Kian normally? The three of you, do this in a group? This hiding behind the door thing?
I was not hiding behind a doorway. I was just making sure that nothing else occurred. Can you really blame me?
I fixed your wall, didn't I?
Just because you fixed it afterwards doesn't necessarily mean that there wasn't the principle of doing the thing in the first place. And, forgive me, but it's not like that. I thought that something would happen between yourself and Rowan, that it would come to blows or something. But possibly maybe a little bit unstable, magic-wise, not...
I'm going to walk away now.
I just didn't want him to burn things, or you to
I just
frostburn.
fixed your wall. I'm going to walk away now, before I have to fix it again. He returns to the parlor room to find Kian. Sorry about that. Seems like you needed to go after him. Yes, well, there are just a few things he needed to hear. But I suppose we will see what comes of this. He smiles. Nods. Well, I don't know how long we have until news of this makes it back to the commander, so... I don't know, I think I'm just going to sit somewhere.
I'm assuming both of you followed him into the room?
No.
No.
Oh.
Okay. Well, never mind. Do you need anything from town if I were to go out today?
I don't think so. I think anything I could need... Well, it is the Goodlove estate. Thank you.
Henry and Ox, you're hanging out in the entryway? And Delilah, sorry.
Ox stops petting Delilah. Henry, you really put your foot in your mouth.
What? No, I wasn't being unreasonable. This was not an assumption, it was grounded evidence.
I'll put you on the ground. For that. Sorry, I'm not here.
Yeah, but I don't think that's really what Virgil needed to hear right now.
Just trying to be honest. Thought that was an important aspect of these sorts of things. Friendship.
Oh.
Ox's ear twitches a little when you say that. Yeah, I guess that's true, but you gotta think about how it's gonna make him feel before you say it. That's also part of friendship.
Well, maybe I just don't like being accused of things that aren't true. Saying that I'm, snooping around in my own house. Were you going to go after him, or I feel like he probably needs at least a minute away from me. Right? Am I correct?
I think Virgil's used to you enough that he won't mind terribly.
I guess I was more thinking that I'm not really sure what to say after all of... He gestures down the hall towards the parlor. All of that. Did you have plans to go out today?
I was gonna try to go back to the forge, but I meant to ask you about that. Is there any way I could either get an official Goodlove paper or a stipend to go to the forge close by? It's a little steep for me.
I've never needed to use the forge personally. I'll look into that, and I have also been needing to talk to you. It's not a negative matter by any means, I'd meant to do it while we were on the road up here to Dawning, but as it would be, we got here much more quickly than I had anticipated. So, if you had a minute,
Yeah,
I could get coffee or something.
I guess let's go check in with Keen and Virgil. And Ox will scuttle away.
Do you know what this is about?
Did Henry just ask you out on a date?
Yeah, Ox is kind of blushing a little bit as he exits Henry's immediate presence. Yeah, you see Ox walk in a little flustered, actually. And
Still blushing.
Yeah. And I think he'll kind of pace back and forth behind you.
Ian will turn physically around on the couch, put an arm up on the back of it. Something the matter?
Henry just said something kind of strange to me. He asked me if I had a minute for a conversation and then started beating around the bush and then suggested that maybe we talk to you first. So I came here.
You act like I asked. Sorry.
He's here!
Well, he wasn't that far behind us. Said he was coming. I digress. Anyways. You act like I asked you to fuck you in public.
Sorry, what the fuck?
That's not what I asked. I legitimately just want to have a conversation. It's basically a business matter at this point. I don't know why you're taking it like this.
This feels a little bit like when you asked us to join you in the bathhouse. It is very, very similar to that. Maybe it's not what you're trying to allude to, but it kind of sounds like you're trying to ask him out on a date or something.
That wasn't my intention. I am much more forward than that. Wanted to see how the two of you were.
I'm doing fine. I will be fine.
Well, I was just planning on trying to go back to the forge today, if anybody else had any plans.
Did you want company?
Only if you wanted to go hang out with a bunch of hot ovens.
Ox is a hot oven.
I wouldn't dislike that. Will you be working on your gun? You've been at it for a while.
Yeah, I'm getting close to finishing, but not quite yet.
I wouldn't be adverse to joining you. Is there like a shop attached to the forge or anything? Look for weapons?
There wasn't anything quite as formal as that. Sometimes people try to sell whatever they've been working on, but gotta be right place at the right time. I was gonna leave in about an hour if you want to join me.
Yeah, that is enough time to, well, hide my face, so, yeah. Do you need help with that again? That might be wise.
And I'll go and see about getting the permit, business association, to get into the forge without costing a fortune.
Yeah, I appreciate it.
It's just a slip of paper that says let him in.
It's got the good
Signed Good Love.
Yeah. It's got their fancy heading.
Henry asked you out on a date, and then Ox is like, Virgil!
I mean, yeah, Henry said when he has a free moment, so he's gonna go think about it.
Oh, no! Ox has to go and freak out about it.
Mm-hmm.
Get all hot and sweaty, and then go on a date. Awful.
So, Henry, it is still rather early in the morning. You will probably be waking up your parents if you go to them now to ask for this pass into the forge. But you certainly can.
He would probably try to seek out someone on the grounds who may have been to the forge before.
If it's just sort of a random, knowledgeable but sort of random groundskeep, they will probably tell you there isn't really a special deal with the Goodloves. The Goodloves are, of course, involved in forging of parts for machinery. However, the groundskeeper seems kind of amused, and they're like, they wouldn't go to a place as fancy as that for their, like, big production, projects. So there's not really a deep connection there. The Goodlove name, of course, carries weight everywhere over the continent, especially in Dawning, but it's not like you can go in and say, I'm a Goodlove, and then they just won't charge you. In fact, they might make sure to charge you because they know you can pay.
There's letterhead in the office, correct? Yeah.
Of course. Yeah, stamped with the Goodlove Rooster logo.
What's he gonna do?
Give Henry like 10, 15 minutes, and he writes up on their official letterhead in pen in his fancy bitch cursive a letter that essentially just explains that Ox and accompanying folks associated with him are there on business related to, and with permission by, the Goodlove estate to direct any charges accumulated from time using the facility towards the estate rather than the individual. And then puts that in one of their official envelopes and gives it a wax seal in the almost rosy bronze that they keep around, and signs it with the H. Goodlove on the cover.
All right. Ox, about 15 minutes later, you're presented with the most beautiful cream-colored envelope you've ever seen with Henry's signature on the front.
Henry, this is very fancy and official. Thank you.
Of course.
And about that talk, I was hoping after the forge we could have it.
Yes, we can do afterwards.
I'll see you then.
Yes, enjoy your forging.
And Ox will skitter away.
On all fours.
Like a crab.
Running away.
Gun in one hand, in the other.
Crab with a gun.
Yeah. Okay.
Kian helps Virgil with his disguise. Actually, I've changed my mind. I think see what this is about. As we all leave.
And Ox will lead them to the forge.
Sorry.
What's that about? Daddy?
I think like as you're all leaving, what's your marching order?
Are you serious?
No, don't worry.
It's the three of us, right?
Yeah,
so would it be
Ox is
Ox?
leading.
Because you know the way.
Kian will take the rear, I guess.
Virgil in the middle.
I'll be the filling in this little party sandwich.
Cool,
What's
okay.
happening?
don't get too excited.
Excited. I'm nervous.
Don't be nervous either. I told you I forgot something, and I'm just making it canon that it was forgotten, but now I've remembered. As you're walking, you cross the main courtyard. I think the exit that Ox takes that's closer to the forge is more of a western exit. It's one of the sort of side paths. As you're walking amongst the fountains and gardens, Kian, you hear Rowan's voice. Kian, from behind you.
He stops. Yeah, he'll turn around.
Okay, yeah, Rowan, it looks like he was quite impressively
Just hidden in a bush.
yeah, basically.
Love of my life.
It's not like he crawls out from beneath it. But he was kind of standing to the side off the main path next to a tree or whatever and steps onto the main path. He looks a bit frazzled. He's wearing the same, sort of simple clothes of the morning, the cloak. He looks just blatantly frazzled and sort of concerned. And gestures for you to stop and come over.
Yeah, Kian peels off from the group. Tries to be sneaky about it. I don't know.
He's not necessarily. I mean, Rowan's not still hunched behind the tree or whatever.
Yeah.
He's just So the two of you can notice this, I would say. And he looks over Kian's shoulder to see if Ox and Virgil are.
Ox
Yeah.
has definitely noticed.
What's going on?
I did not ask. I have been. The two of you asked me, he looks to you, Kian and Virgil, not to say anything about Nico. To Commander in vain. Does that still stand? Is there any reason why it should? Is there something I do not know?
What will happen? Do you have any idea?
Nothing good for her, but perhaps better safety for us.
But what does that mean?
I don't know, Virgil. I did not expect this to come up.
If she really did this, then I see no reason to withhold it, but I don't know what they will do to her.
Okay?
I don't. She does not deserve death for this. She did not do anything. She only came to see me, and that was at my request. Do we have any way of sending to her? To see if she returned?
Kim just looks between the two. I don't do that kind of magic. But if she... I'm more likely to believe your side of the story than hers, based on how she acted. Doesn't really give me any relief to, I don't know, bring this up to the law in any way, but she knew the risks.
I don't know, I believe you, Rowan, I do. I'd like to speak to her. I think there could be more to it than just, I don't know, I don't know.
He sighs. He looks almost disappointed. Okay. I should tell them. I told you I would not. I told you I would wait. But if you have no reason why I shouldn't, then I will.
I wish we did have a reason.
At the very least, if they bring her here, perhaps we can ask her ourselves.
He nods. All right. I'm sorry about this.
How long have you been here?
Not very long. I made it back to my rooms before I realized that I had somehow failed to ask you this.
I do believe you.
I know. To be honest, I was hoping you had a reason not to.
Nothing more than sentiment.
Well, I should run back now.
Do see if you could fit in a nap at some point.
I don't think so. Well, I'll see what I can do. He kind of bows to you both and then continues on, like, in the opposite direction of you, more towards the main path.
Ox sort of looks between the two of you.
Well, should we keep going?
Yeah, let's. Oh god. We've chosen misogyny again.
This wasn't our doing.
I was waiting for you to make a decision.
I know, and then I panicked.
I mean, maybe in this situation, choosing misogyny was
Yeah.
correct.
Yeah. Sometimes.
Sometimes misogyny is good. And that's recorded. So after your second unexpected run-in with Rowan Sterling in some gardens, you carry on your way to the forge. Ox, when you enter the same dwarven forge master is there. It looks like she's just opening up. There is one other person already there in the far back, in one of the larger sections, one of the larger forges, back in a corner next to a window. She, with one impressive push, shoves the heavy blinds up from one of the windows, and the room is flooded with a weak morning light. And she turns around, sees you and the two others approach, and smiles, waves.
Ox will take the letter out of his back pocket and with a slightly shaky hand, hand it to her.
She looks at it and looks at you, takes it from you, and very carefully opens it. Like when someone receives a gift that's wrapped in nice wrapping paper, She opens it with care. She does not rip the envelope. Takes out what's inside and reads it. Henry,
Yes.
I'm going to have you roll. Yeah, I'd say this is a persuasion check.
13.
She reads it. You see her eyes move down the page, and then one more time she turns it over to check out the paper embossed with the Good Love and Good Love logo, and looks back to you and the two others. Sighs heavily and gestures to the forge you were using yesterday.
Ox will tip his hat and then go into the forge.
Okay. You set to work.
Yeah.
The two of you watch Ox work in the forge, getting all hot and sweaty.
Well, maybe Keegan does. Virgil just sits there and enjoys the heat.
They're probably gonna sit near the fire, huh?
Yeah.
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 He'll do some reading there, then he's just carefully reading his little vampire book.
Twilight?
Yeah.
After a little while of, his tinkering and working, Ox will glance over at Virgil. What do you think Henry had to tell me?
What exactly did he say to you to begin with?
That he wanted a minute of my time and
Okay.
just to talk about it. I don't know. He sort of likes to beat around the bush and he's never playing with his words.
I'm afraid I don't know any better than you do. You know him more than I. Is there something that he has mentioned before that he might want to talk about in more detail?
Ox sort of mulls it over in his head for a moment. Nothing that I can really think of. We've been traveling for months now.
You have no idea what it could be? Is this... He specifically wanted to speak to you?
You see Ox's ear twitch a little.
Alright. Keen here. We've heard there might be some folks listening to our tale and wanted to take the time to thank you all for sharing our journey. We'd love to hear more from you, so please leave us a review on Spotify, Apple Podcast, or YouTube streams. We've recently made a Discord server that functions both as a place to share thoughts about the podcast with us, as well as create a community to share your own TTRPG characters and other campaign stories. You can find the link to that, as well as our other social media, at linktree/SpareTheCrying. Background music is by Marika Shans, and our intro music is by Ben McElroy. And our official art is by our very own Corey at CrowQueen on Twitter. And with that, we'll see where the wind takes us and meet you there.
Is there something going on?
Well, it's not like I've told him this, but I've been thinking recently. I think Henry's my best friend.
Yeah, I hope you don't mind if I say so, but it has seemed that way.
I don't know, I never expected to have a best friend again. I had one once, but he's not around anymore.
I'm sorry to hear that. You and Henry met in his shop, yes, under that circumstance?
Yeah.
And this was 6 months ago? How long?
A few months before I met you and Keegan.
I admit at first I wasn't certain what to make of your friendship. I couldn't tell if... Well, I wasn't certain what was going on, but you seem very good friends.
Yeah, well, Henry doesn't always... He means well. I think he's got, well, his best interest in heart, but ours as well, his friends.
He has shown that, yes.
I guess part of what I mean to say is I'm sorry on his behalf for upsetting you earlier.
It's alright. I'm not upset at him anymore. It was just at the wrong time. I'm not mad at him, honestly. And he was right to be worried, I suppose.
Well, I think we're all worried about you. I know what it's like to want things to go back to the way they were, but that's the thing, they never do.
I do know that. I do appreciate your concern. I don't know how to say this without it sounding rude, but I did not fully expect it, I guess. It has not been that long.
I guess that's true, but y'all are really all I have right now, so.
Yeah, I feel much the same. Do you want to walk me through what you're working on?
Yeah, I'm getting pretty close to finishing this up, just a few more days. Getting all pieces right, shaped correct.
And will you be doing this again when you get all the pieces of your missing gun?
No, it's in pieces, but it is a full gun.
So it will be functional when you have it all?
Yeah, it comes apart in 3 big pieces, so I'm hoping it stays that way.
It sounds very clever. Were you the one who designed it?
No, he pauses. My ex-partner, he designed them. They were twin guns, rain and shine. He'll take the gun, he keeps it at the front of his left hip. He'll pull it out and show you it's got rain scratched into the hilt with a little rain cloud. This one was his.
So yours is the one that is missing?
Yeah. He designed them for 2 of us.
So did you learn all of this from him? The tinkering?
Some of it. He had a guardian. Her name's Georgette, but she goes by George for short. She took him in from the oceans, and she's real into explosives and taught him everything he knew. He started teaching me, and I also learned from her.
When you say guardian, do you mean like one of the big ones, or?
Not like a big one,
Right.
like a parent. Like a mother, but not quite.
She sounds very nice.
Yeah, I spent some time living with her, and they had a cave.
A cave?
Yeah, kind of tucked away on the edge of Slate's Edge, which is on the outskirts of nowhere. It was tucked away and didn't have to worry about much usually.
You mentioned this partner of yours a few times. Now I don't know if you ever gave a name. You don't have to.
His name was Endelian, and for short.
That's lovely.
He was that blue tiefling that you saw briefly when we were fighting Perry Fine.
I recall.
Yeah. I couldn't help but feel like Perry sort of looked like Anne.
From the start?
Yeah. It was odd. Especially because Anne didn't know what his childhood was like. He sort of just woke up in the ocean and wandered around for a while and was found by George.
That is interesting. I've never heard of that happening, but thank you for telling me.
Yeah. Thanks for asking about it.
Would you prefer if I did not in the future?
No, I'm trying to get used to the idea of talking about him again.
Yeah, I know how hard that can be. I think it is easier, though, the more you do it.
Ox gives a little smile. Yeah. Go back to tinkering a bit. After Ox gets to a satisfying point, he'll set it down. He'll let the Forge Master know he'll be back later today.
She waves you on.
I mean, Ox was gonna go home and maybe clean up a little bit. He'll take a bath.
With bubbles?
Yeah, that's a ridiculous question to ask if a house has a bubble bath. Of course they do. Yeah, it's definitely a bubble bath.
Sorry, quick aside. Virgil, what are you doing?
He's taking some time to meditate and go through some of the training forms that he's been reading about.
Is this the meditation that you have rolled for in the past?
Yes.
Okay. Can you roll, please?
Yeah, I can.
5. Every
Um,
fucking time.
It's
Or just
bad
bad.
every time I roll for this.
It's a frustrating meditation. It is hard to get your mind to quiet and to stop reflecting on the events of the past few days. But you do your best.
That's all I can do.
That's all you can do.
Sometimes it just isn't
Ox, you
enough.
get beautiful.
Yeah, Ox probably spends like a little too much time trying to make sure that his hair is falling in like just the right way under his hat. His little neck scarf is straightened and he tries to look good.
The rest of the party went to the forge. Henry has been basically just covering all of his bases for his parents' reaction to realizing that he had the forge charge directed towards their account. So he's mostly been doing bookkeeping and...
Just for funsies, roll investigation.
18?
Yeah, I think at least for one day at a forge, you find maybe some ways that some money could have been saved here or there that you can change around, just in case they get mad at you for this decision. Ox, you find Henry maybe surrounded by paperwork, all prepped and ready for your coffee outing.
Ox will stand in the doorway, lean into it. Henry, is now a bad time?
Henry puts down what he's been working on and stands up very casually. It's notable in that it is not notable. I thought you would take a little bit longer at the forge, but it's a perfectly good time now, yes. I figured from his vest he pulls out the gold pocket watch that he has to check the time. It might be a little late in the day for coffee. I think if you're interested, we could go grab lunch. I have an idea. I'll lead the way. Henry would want to go to someplace that is that specializes in donning food.
Yeah.
Donning, more so than a lot of places in this world, has slightly more diverse foods because they are a bit more of a central hub for more trade than a lot of places, but that's still relatively new. The sort of go-to donning food would be dumplings, the various fillings, a lot of mountain vegetables or meats. But of course, there's a wide variety of choices if you go to a place that specializes.
Once they get to the restaurant, he's clearly done this before, wastes no time getting seated at a table and waits. Doesn't really initiate big part of the conversation until after they've gotten drinks and initial ordering done. Henry can advise for ordering, or he's fine ordering for the table for Ox.
Ox would let you order for the table.
And then once they've got some time, Henry will lean into the table a little bit. So, I wasn't entirely sure how to bring this up, and as I said, I didn't really want to make it an entire fair business in front of everyone. It's just, I was thinking, I'm talking to Virgil a while ago. Yes, regarding... Well, I explained to him the reason why we were first encountered each other, and I just, it was suggested to me that it might be a good idea. The point I'm making, Ox, is that I would like to He goes to one of his belts and produces something in his hands and reveals while he speaks that it is the cylinder for Ox's gun. And I wanted to return this to you as it is your possession, and I have been holding it for much longer than perhaps it was originally necessary. I'm just saying you've done definitely earned it. That was something that even maybe didn't need to be. I don't have any purpose for it anymore. Is what I'm saying. It doesn't serve me, and it's just one piece anyway. So you should have it back.
Ox will take it from your hand. I guess this isn't really what I was expecting, but I am happy nonetheless. Thanks, Henry.
Oh, you're welcome. What were you expecting?
Ox sort of flushes a little. Well, I don't know. I guess I thought you were sort of taking me out on a date and had like some serious question to ask, and his face just gets a little more red as he says it.
Did you want to go on a date?
I mean, this sort of is a date, isn't it? The restaurant and sitting in Black.
Henry looks around like he's kind of just realized that they're in a restaurant.
You sort of did take the lead and order for the table.
But when haven't I ordered for you?
Oh my god, this isn't their first date.
Yeah, that's when Ox has sort of a realization.
I like the implication that like friends could not go to a restaurant together.
Absolutely not.
No, never.
I'm more familiar with Jordan cuisine, and well, I still wanted to show it to you. I know you've spent a lot of time in somewhere and nowhere, and
Yeah, I've never really had dumplings, not like this.
and they're very good. Yes.
Yeah. Ox smiles a little and lightens up, relaxes his shoulders a bit as he says, "Yeah, they're really good."
One sec. I don't need to roll an insight check, but Henry does.
I love to watch my friends go on a fake first date.
It's so funny. It's also so cute. Oh my god.
But is
love
this their first
D&D.
Yeah.
Is it a date? Still all unclear.
Still all
What
unclear.
order have y'all hit these milestones in?
Yeah.
30-20. Insight checking the date aspect of Ox asking it. If Ox was being genuine about thinking that it might be a date that he was asked on,
Ox was genuine.
I did want to apologize for holding that over you for a while.
Well, I guess part of me thought it was sort of your way of trying to stay close to me as friends. Sort of in a rivalry way, but not really.
Henry's face is more orange than yellow.
Excellent. Has Ox really seen Henry, like, get flustered a lot before?
Not really. I just think it's cute if the, like, fire resistance aspect plays into how flustered they have to be to actually show it.
And we...
I must admit that I'm a little embarrassed to admit how accurate that is.
Yeah. Well, Henry, I wouldn't just admit it lightly, but you are my best friend. I hope you know that.
I didn't expect it. But thank you. I think that's what you say in these situations. It is my first time. Perhaps that's poor phrasing. I think I'm starting to understand why you thought earlier that it was an invitation for sexual advance or something similar of that nature.
I mean, not that you can't be friends and do that sort of thing, but, yeah, just thought I should tell you how I view us.
I'd like to return the sentiment, as you're definitely one of the best friends that I've had, well, in a long while. And I am somewhat surprised that you've stuck around, but I appreciate it. You aren't planning to leave now that you've gotten what... Henry nods over to the cylinder.
No, I really like traveling with you. I wouldn't just up and leave. I still plan to make that gun for you.
Henry has to take the briefest moment to regain his composure, which thankfully for him coincides directly with food being brought to the table.
Here you go.
Yeah.
You get a plate of heart-shaped dumplings for a lovely couple.
As soon as the waiter or waitress comes over, there's like an immediate shift for Henry back into what I would describe as like customer service Henry.
The waiter seems absolutely charmed by Henry.
Once they've gone and they have food, it's very kind of you to say, thank you, Ox. I do hope to continue traveling with you, both through this endeavor and perhaps through what comes next.
Henry, I really like that.
So, this is your first time having dumplings then? I usually like to start with a vegetable one, though there are a couple of meats, some red. I believe there might be a chicken in there too. I did order a variety. I think one is full of mushrooms.
Yeah, Ox just starts eating dumplings. Is this like a spoon and fork kind of situation, or are there chopsticks with this meal?
People at home often would use their hands, but at a restaurant you are expected to use a utensil. You can ask for other utensils if you want, but they provide you with chopsticks.
Ox would try to eat, but maybe struggle a little bit because he hasn't really used chopsticks before.
Roll dexterity. Most important roll
Do
of the
what
night.
you were gonna
Yeah.
do, Neil. I saw that.
Oh, I was gonna say that Henry would not hesitate to assist Ox.
What do you mean assist Ox?
Teach him how
Oh.
to use chopstick.
Yeah, no, Ox watches you and is able to do it, because that's a 21.
Yeah, you have a very lovely time here at this restaurant, looking over a view of the mountainscape. Henry knows the place probably chose one of the nice tables next to one of the dawning style round windows, and you have a lovely break from forging your gun.
Keen will spend some of his day trying to busk a little bit and make some money in a disguise.
Roll a performance check.
Oh, that's a 7. I rolled a 2.
Keen,
Sounded you breaking a string.
I was like, Kian, you are a little rusty because you haven't been practicing as much. You've been busy. It's just, you realize, probably bad timing. The festival has very recently ended, and it was a week full of buskers and performances and, music, and it seems like a lot of people are a little less eager to stand by and, watch your performance. You get a couple silver here, you get a gold piece thrown in by a wealthy looking individual who smiles and nods, but I think maybe you step away from this with, I'll say 5 gold in all. Like, it's not bad, but you've made more from busking. You just are a charming boy. Because you're
So fucking pretty. Pretty privilege.
yeah. Though I guess you're in disguise.
He
but you're
did make a
charming.
disguise, but his disguise is going to be pretty.
Yeah.
He's not.
And I always imagine Kian, a lot of Kian's charm. Sorry, we don't need to delve into this. Hey, Lachlan here. A lot of Kian's charm comes not from how they look, which of course is incredibly beautiful, but also about how they move, express, and stuff like that. Even under disguise, he's like a charmer. Anyway, when you all get back to the Goodlove residence, in Virgil's room, you find a envelope sitting on your pillow. Just a plain white envelope.
If he goes over and flips it over, is there anything written on it?
No.
Okay, cool. I will open the envelope.
You see in the familiar letterhead of the Phoenix grounds, a note that's written in very neat, simple, sort of blocky handwriting. North Gate, tomorrow, 2 p.m.
Do I recognize the handwriting?
Yes, this is the handwriting of the person who is in charge of writing official invitations or correspondences between people in Dawning. They are known to mince their words as much as possible, as they have a lot to write.
Okay. Whenever the boys are all in the Goodlove estate, at some point he will share that with them.
You all spend your dinner time here and go off to bed.
I would just Keen wants to insight check the vibes.
I'm rolling like dog shit, except for when I punched that hole in the wall.
I got a 12.
Ox seems pretty normal about it. The weirdness sort of has dissipated.
Henry? Henry's doing good.
Yeah, so everyone seems normal, and you go to bed. You have a restful sleep. The next day, you don't have anything you need to do until 2 p.m.
I do not have plans.
Do you want to be disguised again?
No, there's no point.
Keen will disguise himself, though. He's got some blonde again.
So you have finally a slow morning here in Dawning. For the first time since you got here, undisguised. Virgil, you leave around 1:30 with blonde Kian, Henry, and Ox in tow. You make your way through the streets of Dawning to the north gate of the palaces. You do not recognize the guard at the front, but either you or Kian are recognized. You can see that they know who you are, Kian, they look at you and kind of glance at each other. But as you approach, they do still ask for identification.
Yeah, Virgil will pull out his paperwork. I believe it designates him as a citizen of Enosh. And he will also pass over the letter inviting him here.
They look over, nod, and then look to the three of you expectantly.
Keen passes his real papers over.
Ox sort of nervously takes out the crumpled paper from his pocket, passes it.
Henry, of course, has his fancy bitch papers.
Yeah, I think Henry's are the ones they look at the quickest and fold them up nicely, even yours, Ox, so it was a bit crinkled. And yours as well, I believe, Virgil, you've described as crumpled.
Yeah, his real ones.
Yeah. They fold them neatly, hand them all back. One of them opens the gates and starts to lead you through the gardens. They're pretty silent as they're doing this. There's a sort of tension to the guard. They're kind of wary of you.
Yeah, that's fair.
They lead you to the central hall of the palace and open the doors. It leads directly to a long hallway and then at the end a meeting room.
Do they let us keep our weapons?
They do. The building is grand, but there are large round windows that line the walls, and it kind of lends a friendly look to what could be a rather imposing grand hall. The walls and the pillars are a dark wood and have a golden filigree along the edges that glows in the afternoon light. The doors at the end of the hall are much smaller and easier for the guard to open than the ones at the entrance, and they do so. And on the opposite side of the room, you see a group of figures looking back. In the center stands Commander-in-Chief Taryn Nevane. Much like you saw on stage when they began the festivities a couple days ago, they're not exceptionally tall or short, and they're not dressed in an unusually rustic or unusually flashy or rich manner, but they are eye-catching. They have simple long robes of gold that match their skin and their hair, accented with white. And surrounding them are the rest of the new Dawn Shepherds, who now wear matching uniforms, also in white, something between a vest and a breastplate, with gold scale mail around their necks, and a sun emblazoned on the front that matches Virgil's brooch. Are you wearing that brooch?
I don't know that he does. I think it was on the cloak that he gave to Not Lachlan. He still has it embroidered on his tunic and on the spurs on his greaves.
To each of Commander Nevane's sides stands two shepherds, Rowan on one side, and then a tiefling woman on the other, who matches his height. She has a deep red skin and sapphire eyes and short, dark, iridescent horns that curve over black curled hair. And she is the only one to make a move as you all approach down this long hallway. And it's just a slight raise of her hand, barely above her waist, as she waves in Henry's direction, and then lowers it back and returns to formal posture again. Kian, you notice the hilt of the sword at her side has a very recognizable and familiar making to it. Then to the left and right of them stand Commanders Tijani and Co. Tijani was wearing striking gold around his eyes and fine clothes when you last saw him at the ball, and without the sparkle and wonder of the party around him now has a stern, imposing figure from his newly shaved head and very strong, stiff posture. Ko stands still and has the same form as the rest of them, but you can see there's tension sort of coiled in the way they curl their fists and smile sort of wryly as you come nearer. And then finally, to the far right, there is the other new member of this group, who I think even Virgil does not recognize or know the name of, a half-orc. Stocky, a bit on the shorter side, with dark green skin and gold-tipped fangs, and maroon eyes that lower to the floor as you approach. These are the people you approach. They're silent as you come closer. And once you're maybe 10 feet away, on equal ground as them, there's no stage or steps that you have to climb to reach them. Navain steps forward and just looks at you, Virgil.
Virgil has been tense the whole way walking up here. He looks somehow smaller than he is. And as Navain steps forward, Virgil lowers his eyes to the floor and then lowers himself to the floor. He goes to one knee, left hand extended, palm up, other hand over the heart. Commander Navain, I ask for your attention, though I offer nothing of worth. Will you permit me this?
They nod.
He takes a deep breath and tries to steady his voice. Kian might be able to hear that his voice sounds a little thready. I come to you 2 years past due. I do not ask forgiveness. I only wish to convey that I am deeply sorry for the disrespect I have shown you, and for the harm I have caused to you and all those affected by my actions. I was impulsive and careless and selfish, and I was told a decision had been reached, and it was not one I wanted to hear. For too long I have harbored ill will, where I should have had faith in you as my commander-in-chief, and I can offer little for my wrongdoings save the strength of my sword arm. If there is anything I can do to make up for what I have done, I will do it, to the best of my ability.
Roll a persuasion check.
Oh no, oh no! Oh no.
I'm going to give you advantage.
Okay. Okay. Please, God, please. Well, with my -1, it's a 9.
Silence falls as Virgil ends his apology. It feels heavy. The three of you, if you look at the other shepherds, now they all sort of carry that same tension as they watch Virgil and Navain. It seems like they don't really know how this is going to end either. The silence lasts maybe about a minute. And then finally, Navain speaks. You may stand.
He does.
They step forward a few more paces, and once they're almost uncomfortably close to you, they look you up and down.
I do think that Kian would roll an insight if there seems to be any sort of anger or ill will towards Virgil.
Virgil is not looking them in the eye.
That's a nat 20.
I'm going to type this one to you.
Oh!
Okay. As Navain is walking towards Virgil, Kian will just the slightest shift, not even a half step, closer to Virgil, and he'll stop himself. And that's it.
Don't look at me like that.
16 to notice. Kian.
Kian stepping closer?
Yeah.
I think you can just notice.
Little crab man.
Like
Yeah.
this, everyone except for Navain is deathly still in this room. So the slightest shift is noticeable.
I'm picturing them, at least for me, on like opposite sides of Virgil. And so I'll have him also take a step towards the other side of Virgil.
Navain's gaze flickers to you, Kian, and over to you, Henry. They don't look angry or upset by your movement, just that they've noted it.
Henry has nothing but the most polite smile to offer.
Of course. And Navain has nothing but the coolest, most neutral expression to offer back. How do you intend to prove yourself?
What would you ask of me?
They take a step back. What do you have to offer?
All that I am. That is all I have.
They look to you, Kian, and to you, Henry, and to you, Ox. And wait.
Kian glances to Virgil, back. I would trust him with my life. And having him on your side is always a benefit. He'll look to the other boys.
Well, if I may, I think a simple benefit is rather an understatement for Virgil's performance. I've contracted him to assist me with a bit of business that I could not take care of alone, and, well, by all means, he has been even more than the reputation that precedes him, saved both my life and that of my traveling companions on at least, what is it now, are we up to 5 occasions? Regardless, an exceptional companion, and someone who is more than willing to put himself in the appropriately placed line of fire to assist without being too terribly reckless.
Well, in my experience, Virgil's been a loyal companion, friend. He doesn't disappoint in a fight, not once. Anybody'd be lucky to have him as a team member.
They turn around and step back to the group that waits behind them. You see Rowan catch their eye as they approach. They nod to him. He looks past their shoulder over to you, back to Navain, nod in return. Then they turn back around in the same spot they were just standing in. You came to Dawning with the intent to aid the refugees of Enosh.
Yes.
What is your plan if Dawning is unable to take in these people?
We have options of other guardians that need things that we might be able to offer.
We are very resourceful and can definitely figure something out. Are you implying that Dawning isn't able to take refugees right now?
They nod.
If I may be so bold, your decision, was this predetermined or biased based on the events of the past 5 minutes?
Predetermined.
I'm inside checking that. 16?
They are hard to read.
I fucking knew it.
Their face does not change as they answer.
Just had to make sure, of course.
In the end, it is the Guardian's decision, not ours.
But we haven't even offered anything. There's nothing that we could give that would be worth it.
There is a moment, I think all of you see a bit of a break in this perfect still mask that they wear. They look thoughtful. They look thoughtfully at you. I do not believe you would be able to give the Phoenix what is required.
That is a very bold assumption. What do they want?
What is your plan if Dawning cannot take in the refugees?
We go to Freya. We go to Enian. Rasul.
would you do so under the banner of the Phoenix?
I don't understand why I would go under the banner of the Phoenix if they aren't willing to accept any refugees.
They don't say anything.
Kian looks thoughtful. He turns. What is Virgil's?
Virgil's not moved.
He's still on his knee.
No, Navain asked him to stand,
Okay.
so he did, but he is frozen.
Are you saying then that that's what the Phoenix wants? Prestige? A wider influence?
They look to Ox. Kian.
I think we'll do whatever gives Enoch the best chance to find a new home.
Ox nods.
They look to Henry. If you disagree, you may go.
If we have nothing else to discuss, I believe our time is better spent elsewhere then.
They nod. And as they continue to speak, Henry, they just don't look your way. We can provide you with the equipment you may need for a journey far from Dunning and through the oceans. Flores, you ask how you can prove yourself. If you bear our name well, that is all.
Understood, Commander.
If no one else looks like they're going to talk or move, Henry's fine taking the lead in leaving. It wouldn't be the first time we had to drag Henry into a situation in which he disagreed with everyone else on what to do.
Yeah.
And it won't be the
So-
last.
Wouldn't be a fast exit, it would be one in, like, more of a turning around, seeing if everybody else is turning around too. Assuming everybody else is going to come with him.
So, Henry, you turn around and start walking away. Do any of you follow?
Virgil was not dismissed, so
I think
he's waiting.
Is this just so Virgil can prove himself? Or is it more of a bigger picture?
For now. But there is more Flores has to offer. And perhaps the two of you as well.
He just slowly nods, glances back.
Yeah, he's at the point where he's stopped to see if anybody else is like, are you gonna come? Or
Ox had sort of taken a half step toward Henry, but stopped.
Navain
Yes.
looks to you.
Ox just freezes.
We can offer you a place to stay, some time to prepare.
Kian looks questioningly at both Ox and Henry. He hasn't made a move to leave. He kind of raises a brow.
Ox's body language looks like he's trying to be sort of a bridge between Henry's hesitance at the door and the group.
if Kian looks confused, Henry is equally confused.
That is very generous. Thank you.
Navain finally looks to you, Henry, from far across the room at this point. They still seem to be speaking quietly, but you can hear it clearly. The hallway seems to amplify their voice from where they're standing. You may go.
There is a notable, swish across the floor at the end of his tail. But he does go. But there is a huffiness to this later walking out, straighter backed.
Okay. Henry, you walk out. The same guard is still there who led you here, and they look at you curiously but don't say anything and wait for a moment to see if anyone is following you, and when no one is, they lead you out through the gardens again to the north gate, and the doors are closed behind you. Three of you are still left in this room. Navain and the other shepherds watch as Henry leaves until the doors click to a shut. And then Commander Navain nods to each of you and turns on again, walks back to the opposite side of the hallway where there's another set of doors. They're followed by most of the group. Rowan looks over his shoulder at you all as he follows. You notice a part of their form that you didn't see when they were on stage, and that you didn't see when they were standing in their formal posture with a hand behind their back, is that they each have a bracelet around their wrist. Henry, you noticed that Umbra was wearing one when she was sitting on the bench at the ball, a gold thick band with a green stone. But it looks like the rest each have one as well. Tijani has same gold band with a pink stone. Ko has the same in red. And as the remaining Dawn Shepherd relaxes slightly as the others leave, you see that they have the same in purple.
Naveen and Rowan don't.
Naveen and Rowan don't. And the one remaining shepherd in the room is the half-orc. Their gaze finally rises to meet yours. They smile. Could have gone worse. They hold out a hand to you, Virgil. My name's Commander Gree.
Hi, I'm Virgil. He takes their hand.
Well,
And his is very cold.
they shake your hand. There's a bit of a nervous energy to them that you can tell they're trying very hard to suppress. So I'll show the three of you to your rooms and show you around a little bit, and you can tell me what supplies you'll need, and I will see if we can provide them for you.
Are we to stay here until
Yes,
we depart?
yes. You're not to leave the grounds.
Well, that might be a problem. All my stuff's back at the Goodlove house.
We will get your stuff and bring it here. Well, I won't, but someone will.
Is there a reason we can't leave?
Their sort of cheerful demeanor fades slightly, and they look over at Virgil and to you. Orders.
There, reasoning behind those orders?
Their back straightens. They sort of hold themselves with a bit more authority. You are being given a chance to prove yourselves. You will be potentially privy to some information that is not public, and one of you is still considered to be a wanted criminal on this island. So, you are under watch for the time being.
Are we allowed to go around the grounds of our own free will, or?
You are allowed to explore the grounds as you wish, yes. Some rooms are off limits, but it should be clear to you. If there's a locked door, then leave it locked.
Already reaching for the lock.
Yes. He just takes lockpicks out of his bag.
Look, Len.
And key. And
That's okay.
yeah.
Yeah. That was an accident.
Follow me then.
Yes.
They turn and follow Commander Navain's footsteps through the smaller doors in the back. And as you walk further into the Phoenix grounds and Henry walks further away from the Phoenix grounds, that's where we'll end our session for tonight.
Is it that you have the same aesthetic? You're both gold, and Henry's like, I don't like that. I do it better.
It's more of a what are you hiding? Because you didn't actually
so much.
explicitly tell us at all what the Phoenix really wants, and even didn't answer the direct question.
Do you guys
of,
think the
is-
Phoenix is even real, or that the Phoenix is Navain?
Who's to say?
Her eye was on the sparrow. Her mind was on the deaf. But no one cared and no one dared to speak to her of God. Her eyes are always hooded. Her claws are sharp as steel. We teach her not to see too much. Teach her